Okay, so I've just arrived at Delhi Airport from Muscat. It is about 2 a.m. in the morning and I'm heading to the international transfer desk where I will go through the transfer and find the transit hotel where I'm going to spend 12 hours waiting for my next flight, which is an onward flight to Melbourne. It seems pretty busy here at 2 a.m. in the morning. And eventually you get to the point where you either go to the left to immigration or domestic transfer. But if you want an international transfer, you head straight ahead into the international transfer section, which is never very busy because I would say 99% of people are arriving in Delhi to stay in Delhi or going to a domestic transfer. Okay, so I'm pleased to report that the international transfer desk, and particularly the security at the international transfer desk, has been upgraded, and instead of having 2 people working there, there's now 5. So it was much quicker and bearable. So I'm through the security screening at the international transfer desk. So now we make our way through and we'll go up the escalator and we are then in the international terminal. And you pass over the top of the passport control area for those who are entering India. And you enter the international departures area at the beginning of duty free, so you have to do the full course through duty free and then find the transit hotel. Still pretty busy here for 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning. And once you make your way through duty free, you follow the signs to the hotel. And the hotel is down a corridor, and the corridor is opposite the Irish House pub. So follow the signs around the back to hotel. It's a Holiday Inn. You do feel like you're going into the service areas of the hotel, and you find this elevator. And you catch the elevator to the 5th floor. So, as I say, you want the 5th floor hotel. And here you find the reception of the Holiday Inn Express. Well, I've been here for about, I guess it's 15 minutes, and I'm still waiting to get a room key. It seems to take forever. So I finally arrived in the room and it's 3:37 a.m. and he still has to activate the internet for me. He said 5 minutes, we'll see how long it takes. But this is the standard room of the Holiday Inn Transit Hotel at Delhi Airport. A reasonable bathroom, a comfortable bed with fresh linen, and a desk, and tea and coffee making facilities. So everything you need to get a bit of rest. There is a window and it looks out over passport control. You can see people attempting to enter India down below. The escalator is the escalator that that I came up when I went through the international transfer desk, and to the left you can see people entering the international terminal who've just come through security from landside. There is a reasonable amount of light leakage around those curtains, so it's a good idea to keep an eye mask if you've got one from your flight here, because the room never gets completely dark. But at 20 to 4 in the morning here in Delhi, I shall now try and get a bit of sleep before my flight to Melbourne, which leaves at 2 p.m. Well, good morning. It's just going 7 a.m. Delhi time, which means I've slept for about 3 hours, which is gratifying. You definitely need an eye mask to block out some of the ambient light. There's also a reasonable amount of noise. It's not entirely soundproof here, so you just hear the constant noise of people entering the airport. But it's okay. Now, this is actually the third time I've stayed at the Holiday Inn Transit Hotel. Twice was planned. My last trip was unplanned because I missed a connecting flight because my flight arrived from Melbourne 10 minutes after my flight to Muscat left, so I had 24 hours in the Holiday Inn Transit Lounge. But I also had a trip previously where I didn't stay here. I left the airport and went to Aero City and stayed in a Holiday Inn there. Now, the advantage of that is that the hotels in Aero City were much cheaper. The disadvantage is you do need an Indian visa, an e-visa, to leave the airport and get to Aero City. And then you also have to get a cab if you arrive late at night. There is a metro line, but I think it shuts at midnight. So once you take into account the cost of the e-visa and the time taken to get through immigration and the cost of the cabs there and back, it's probably still cheaper to leave the airport, but it takes a bit longer. So it was good to get a few hours sleep. I think I've got 5 hours to go until my flight to Melbourne. There is breakfast provided here in the lounge, so I'll head off to breakfast in a moment. One thing to mention, and it's not the fault of the Holiday Inn here at all, is the air quality on this trip is pretty poor, and you notice it and it can give you a headache. It's not as bad as it was the first time I stayed here, when the air quality was particularly bad and actually made me feel sick. But my memory of that time was the air quality is worse overnight and it improves during the day as the sort of sun gets up and burns off the pollution. But that's just part of travelling to India. It's not the fault of the Holiday Inn at all, although you would hope there's some air filtering system to try and make the air better. The rooms here are okay. They give you everything you need, but they're relatively expensive compared to the hotels outside, out in Aero City. They're modern, but they've obviously had a fair bit of wear and tear. And so it's not a luxury experience, it's a convenience experience, and that's what you're paying for. But the bed linens are nice and fresh, and the bed is good, so you get a comfortable night's sleep. The shower is hot, the hot water is instant, so I have no complaints about the bathroom. There is a small gym here with a couple of treadmills and some weights, so if you're hopelessly jet lagged in the middle of the night, you can kill some time just going to the gym. The room rate includes breakfast, and there's also a restaurant that serves food during the day, and it does serve alcohol, although I did buy a Kingfisher beer here last time and it worked out at $12 Australian, which is fairly expensive. And you are able to come and go from the hotel and go out into the international terminal to the shopping and the cafes and restaurants there. You're not trapped in the hotel itself, but you are trapped within the international terminal. So you can come and go, and you can go and get a decent coffee from some of the coffee shops that are in the international terminal. So it's just after 7 o'clock now, so I think I might venture out and go and see what the breakfast is like this morning in the lounge here at the Holiday Inn Transit Hotel at Delhi Airport. So I've decided to start with some fruit and yogurt, and then the nice young gentleman's bringing the coffee to me when he makes it. So the air quality index here this morning in Delhi Airport is 285 particulate matters, which is rated as dangerous. That's not actually as bad as it was when I was here a month ago, when it was into the 400s. And you can judge that because if I look out the window, I can actually see the airfield and the planes, whereas when I came in December at this same time in the morning, it was a complete whiteout, and the terminal building only revealed itself later in the day. Killing time wandering the corridors of Delhi Airport. Now, this does seem to be another option, although I can't see it manned at the moment, so I'm not sure how you rent one of these snooze cubicles. Well, it's just past midday, which means it's now just over 2 hours to my flight. I've had a walk all around the terminal. I've sat in the lounge here at the transit hotel. I've sat in the room and watched a bit of the tennis on the television, and I'm getting cabin fever here, so I think I'll go and spend the last hour and a half or so in the Air India lounge and bide my time there. Okay, so finally checked out of the hotel. Once again, it took 10 minutes to check out, even though it's already fully paid. They asked me to wait. I said, why? And he said, I need to talk to my colleague. The colleague finally arrived, and I said, why am I waiting? And they said, oh, it's all right, yes, you can go. So it just seems to be the way things work here. Anyway, we're on our way to the Air India lounge.
So the good news is the air quality's improved from dangerous to just very unhealthy.
Okay, so we're leaving the Air India lounge. They've called my flight a bit early, and there's been a gate change to gate 4, which means we're not at an aero bridge. We have to get a bus out to the aircraft. So that's why they've called it almost an hour and a half before departure. So that's okay. Hopefully we'll get on the aircraft nice and early. So here we are approaching gate 4. Last time it was quite a long bus trip. It was we actually left the airport grounds. It was about a 5k bus trip. So we'll see what's in store for us this time. There's a lot of people who approach the gate in wheelchairs, and they're going to have a very hard time getting up the stairs. Now, how do you go about booking the Holiday Inn Express? Well, there's two ways. You can go to the standard IHG website and find the Holiday Inn Express New Delhi International Airport and, book some dates. So let's say, in a couple of weeks' time, 1 room, 1 guest, and you'll be offered a price, non-inclusive of taxes. You want the international wing if you are doing an international transfer, and you can select a non-refundable rate, and inclusive of taxes, it comes out at about 14,000 INR. Now, the issue with doing it via the IHG website is it's like booking a standard hotel room, and the conditions are check-ins at 2 p.m. and check-outs at 12 p.m. So that may not work for you if you are arriving like I did at 3 a.m. and your flight left at 2 p.m. I wanted the room a bit longer than 12 p.m. So the other way to book the hotel, and the cheaper way to book the hotel, is to actually go to the Delhi Airport website and then scroll down and click on Terminal Hotel. And then you can find your check-in date. So let's say it was the 15th of February and maybe you wanted to arrive like I did at 3 a.m. and then you can select a duration. So as little as 3 hours, as much as 24 hours. So I wanted 12 hours. The location, you need to specify international wing if you're doing an international transfer. Makes you acknowledge that you are doing an international transfer. And there's only one room type option, and the rate that is quoted is inclusive of taxes. So it's 11,000 rupees via the Delhi Airport website, whereas it's 14,000 via the IHG website, and it's a more restricted timing. Now, even though I booked via the Delhi Airport website, I was able to enter my IHG rewards number, so I did receive IHG points for the 2 stays that I paid for at the transfer hotel. I didn't receive any points for the stay that Air India paid for, and that previous stay is when I stayed at the AeroCity Holiday Inn. Now, I've just also checked for the Holiday Inn at AeroCity, and whereas the time that I tried a month or 2 ago, the rate at the AeroCity was much cheaper, for this particular date, in a couple of weeks' time, it's actually turning out roughly the same as the Transit Hotel.